comes down to. Back to strategy 1. For the next 6 weeks, we need to be committed to the idea that all the things we know do not serve us are just out of the equation. Not can I eat on weekends, coach? Do I get a cheat day once a week? Oh, well, I have a very busy social life and I like to eat out at restaurants at least once a week. I always say, look, we've been eating out at restaurants our entire life. We're going to eat out at restaurants for the rest of our life. We're on a 6-week fat loss mission. Can we just get 6 weeks of intense focus with no restaurants in your life for 6 weeks? I promise if you do that, you will accelerate the results of your fat loss challenge big time. It's very hard to duplicate or mirror the macronutrient ratios on your meal plan, just winging it out on the street and finding these foods in restaurants or wherever, putting the meal together so your protein, carbs, and fat are right. You know, restaurants are in the business of making money. They're not in the business of getting us the best quality foods. So usually you're getting chicken breast and salad from a restaurant, thinking it's the same thing as what you would get if you bought a high quality meat from your grocery store and got some fresh organic vegetables and made your own chicken breast salad. They're two very different things. Chances are the chicken breast from the restaurant is the lowest quality, cheapest chicken breast they can find. It's probably full of antibiotics, full of all kinds of other things I won't even get too far into. Probably marinated in something high sodium. You're going to be bloated after eating this type of food. So just commit or surrender to the idea that for the next 6 weeks at least, you're going to be preparing the majority of what you eat. You're going to take full responsibility for what you're putting into your body, not trust a restaurant or someone else to cook the food that you need to reach your physical goals. So at least 15, 20 minutes every evening, you're setting aside time for meal prep. Time to get my cooking tools out and get some stuff ready tomorrow so I don't leave out of the door empty-handed and fool myself into thinking I'm going to wing it tomorrow and it's going to work out great. So moving into the specific formula we're going to use. I'd love to give you guys the entire seminar on how to figure out how many calories you should be eating and then divide those calories into the right ratios of protein, carbs, and fat, and then create your own meal plan. That would be great if I could actually give you that seminar today as well as the seminar I'm going to give you, which is the 8 most important fat loss success strategies. That's really what we're here to talk about. But I did do this seminar before, and it is on YouTube. So Elon is going to, at your request, will email you this PowerPoint. You can click on that link, and you can watch the seminar of how to design, step-by-step, 6 easy steps, your own nutrition plan. You all know I'm here to create nutrition plans if you need it, but I think I might be able to provide some of you DIY type of people with enough information to do this on your own. I've had plenty of people with no nutrition experience watch this seminar, keep their little notebook out, take their little notes, go right and do it step by step, and come up with a meal plan. Where they came to me to review it, they were about within 10% of where they should be. That was pretty darn good. So it's not rocket science. Eating balanced, healthy meals is really not rocket science. When I show you how simple the formula is, you'll be able to engineer your own little healthy meals for fat loss, and you'll be able to share this with your friends, your family, your cousin, your sister, and hopefully no one will ever have to do any of these extreme, unhealthy diets that are out there today, because you guys will be able to set it straight. So, if it seems like a daunting task, the idea of watching my seminar and creating your own nutrition plan, another option is simply just figure out about how many calories do I burn on an average day. If you can figure that out, all you've got to do is eat a little bit less than that in no specific macronutrient ratios, and that alone, just consuming a little bit less than you're burning, will get you losing some weight. So part of the formula, part of the seminar on how to build your own menu for fat loss is going to include this slide, which is a calorie calculator that's online. It's called the Mifflin-St. Jean formula. It's by far the most accurate predictive formula for determining the average metabolic rate of the average person. It's going to ask you your height, your weight, your age, your gender, your activity level, a little about your workout throughout the week, and once you get all that, it's going to spit out a range of calories that you should be in for fat loss or muscle gain, depending on what you put your goal in. So if it spits out a range, says, well, you should be eating about 1,300 or 1,400 calories a day for fat loss, you know, okay, that's my starting point. I'm going to use my little MyFitPal or my FitPal food tracker, and everything I eat, I'll input it into my tracker and just make sure I don't go over my 1,400 to 1,500 calorie limit. That alone would be simple. So with my nutrition seminar, And with this calculator, you will be able to put together your own meal plan for fat loss very easily. If you want to try to put it together on your own, give me a call, email, reach out to me. I'll be happy to review it, hopefully identify areas for improvement, and maybe with that alone, you'll be able to go forward and do your own nutrition plan without even needing anything from me. This plan that I'm going to teach you is called the 40-40-20 macro split. It's nothing new. It's nothing I came up with. It's been around forever. It's just a way of balancing your macronutrients in a way that is so balanced you get the best of everything. You're consuming about 40% of your calories from protein, high quality lean animal proteins, about 40% of your calories from complex carbohydrates, and about 20% of your calories from healthy fats. Most of those healthy fats are already occurring in the foods you're eating, in the animal proteins, but a little of them will come from some healthy fats we can put on the side, like avocado, nuts, certain oils, coconut oil, a little butter, etc. So when you divide your proteins, your carbs, and your fats into a 40-40-20 ratio, and you do this for weight loss, here are some of the advantages you get out of doing it this way. First of all, whenever we're going into a sub-maintenance level of calories, we're going to eat less calories than our body actually needs each day. We're burning more than we're actually eating each day. It's important you have enough protein in your menu to support your lean muscle. It's very hard to support muscle on an almost all carbohydrate diet. So we do need a certain amount of protein, and if you're in this gym breaking down muscle tissue 2, 3, 4, 5 days a week, the need for clean, high-quality animal protein becomes even more important for your recovery. So at 40% of your calorie intake from protein, that's certainly more than an adequate amount of protein there for you to recover from your workouts. There's even a little additional protein there that if your body had to break down some protein through a process called glucogenesis and use some of that as energy, there's enough there for that as well, and still enough spare left over for your muscle building. Getting 40% of your calories from carbohydrates is definitely nice when you're dieting. You're not on a carb-free diet. It means that every single meal, you get to have a little bit of carbs on your plate. Might be a half a sweet potato, might be a little quinoa, jasmine rice, brown rice, might be yuca, or whatever your choice of complex carbohydrate is. Maybe in the morning it's Ezekiel toast or oatmeal. But the good news is that each and every one of your 5 to 6 mini meals each day, you get to have a little bit of clean, healthy carbs. And that goes a long way for keeping you very psychologically strong as you go through your diet. Keeps your energy levels great. You don't feel like crap at work because you're on 0 carbs. You're able to come in this room and perform optimally. If you're on a low-calorie diet that's low carbs too, you're going to come in here and you're going to underperform. And the workout is the meat and potatoes of your fat loss. If you're not getting a great workout and you're dragging your butt through the workout, you're sacrificing one of the most important components of your fat loss formula, the actual workout itself. So we've got to make sure there's enough carbohydrates in your life for you to perform like an absolute beast when you step into this room. Getting 40% of your daily calories from fresh carbs will certainly allow you to feel great energy, a nice energy balance. The nice thing about balancing protein, carbs, and fat in this way, you have a very low insulin response to your meal. You know, we don't want big spikes in your insulin levels throughout the day because you're having super high carbs, super low protein, or lots of sugar at each feeding. We want to make sure you're having a very low insulin response. Your pancreas is not going bananas. If I'm going to ask you to eat 5 or 6 feedings a day, 35 to 42 times a week, that's 34 to 35 to 42 opportunities for me to help you manage your body's insulin response to meals. For us to influence your hormonal response to that meal in a way that is very conducive to fat loss. If you can go a whole week without ever really spiking your blood sugar levels because you've been having protein, carbs, and fat on your plate in a very balanced ratio, this is going to bode very well for you in your fat loss journey. You're going to accelerate your fat loss far more than if you were eating meals that were out of balance and had high amounts of carbs or complex or simple carbs with very little protein, very little fat. These are going to cause spikes in your blood sugar level. When those blood sugar levels drop, you're going to feel a lull in your energy. So we want to give you a nice, steady, even burn throughout the day on your energy levels. And balancing your foods in this way is a great way to do that. It's also the most logical and simple place to start. If you start in a very balanced place, 40-40-20, if you do need to reduce calories a little, or you're one of these folks who is particularly carb sensitive, you can reduce a little bit of carbohydrates, a little bit of fats. When you start with ratios that are way out of whack, like 60% from 60% from carbs, 20% from protein, 20% from fat. It's almost like you don't know where to go from there. Do I add more carbs? Do I reduce carbs? Starting with these balanced ratios gives you a very simple place to start from and know what direction to go. So the 40-40-20 meals and snacks, here I just want to give you a visual of how you can have 3 very different meals that all meet the criteria of 40-40-20 macros. If we look at this here, it's just a veggie and cheese omelet with a little toast on the side. You've got about 43 grams of protein, about 41 grams of carbs, and about 11 grams of fat. So the percentages break down to roughly 40-40-20. Does it matter if you're off by a few percent? Absolutely not. We're looking for balance. We're not looking for dead accuracy at every single feeding. The idea is not to have meals where there's some macro missing off the plate. There's no fat in the meal, there's no protein in the meal, there's no carbs in the meal. We're looking for a certain level of balance. Banana protein smoothie, organic berry parfait. Again, just looking for ways to balance things. As I create your menus and I'm there with my software, I might put in a chicken breast and some mixed vegetables. And I'll say, okay, where am I going to get them another 15 grams of carbohydrates? Okay, we'll go with quinoa on this meal. So again, it's literally engineering the meal to create a certain balance. And over time, as you follow your meal plan, you're going to start to see the patterns. You're going to start to see the numbers behind the foods. And going forward into the future, every time you look at a chicken breast, to you, what you're going to see is 25 grams of protein. When you look at a half a baked potato, you're going to see 30 grams of carbs. You won't see a baked potato as a baked potato anymore. So you'll start to understand the macros or the numbers behind the meals. And this is when dieting or just clean lifestyle eating becomes very easy. It becomes very instinctive. Yes, for the first few weeks, we're going to have to be meticulous and calculated in our approach. We're going to have to pull out food scales and measuring tools. But after you've done that for a few weeks, you kind of master the art of eyeing things out, the portion sizing with your eye, and that's when things become very easy. You know that your 4-ounce chicken breast is about yay big, and half a cup of rice is about yay big, and then you can put away all those measuring tools, and going forward, you don't need that stuff anymore. Furthermore, maintenance is a lot easier and less calculated than getting to your goal. Getting to your goal takes a little bit of a calculated approach, but when you arrive there, it's very easy to maintain your body weight without measuring and weighing things out. If you've done that, if you were diligent with that for a while, it becomes easier once you arrive. So we're up to step number 3. We're talking about the 8 steps that you should follow, the 8 steps that you incorporate. If you incorporate these into your plan, not only will you have the absolute best results, you can carry all 8 of these best practices